Congratulations, week one win.
Yeah.
Heading into week two against Humboldt State. Just tell us, I guess, where you see your teams at this point of the season, heading into a big game against a GNAC opponent.
Yeah, well, after reviewing the film and just seeing everything, taking everything into account in the staff meeting, is you see that our team right now they're a team, and they have a great affinity for each other, a great affinity for the program, for the school. Coming out in the second half, I think that was the part that I could take out of the locker room the most, and hearing their words is that, it's so unique to our program that this truly becomes a real football family. We have players from so many diverse backgrounds, geographically, ethically, socioeconomically, all that. But here at this program, that whole one blood football spirit we talk about, where they become a real family unit, and they get back to that purity of the game. That pays off because they hung in there together. They were able to listen to the coaches, believe with each other. So that was good. So as I look at that, and to have a successful season, you got to have a team. After that, you review the film. There's a lot of areas we still had to improve in, and from all three phases, I thought our effort was great, but there's some execution things that we've got to fix and we've got to get better at. The week one to week two is always the biggest jump for any team. And we've got our hands full this week to say, hey, there's an urgency to get this jump done and to make sure we're prepared for Saturday night.
Coach, draw back a little bit on, say, last year for us, an example. Yeah. A lot of emotion in season opening wins last year and now this year. Coming back a few days ago, what did you learn as a coaching staff, and how do you explain it to the players? Hey, you know what? We're back at it now, week two. You might have had a really exciting win, but we got to keep this thing rolling. How do you translate that to the players?
Well, you look at last year, and it's all about growing the program, about becoming that nationally dominant football program that when you're in a national conversation every single year, we want to be we obviously want to be number one at the end of the year. And in that, you also want to make sure your program's consistently in that top 10 rank throughout, every single year in and year out, and then be in that position. So in doing that, it takes time to learn. And I think last year, coming off a Grand Valley win, it's obviously a great win, but you got to know you have to be ready the next week. And that's where I think the experience coming off of last year, and now going into this year. With the maturity of the guys, maturity of the program, is they're hungry, they're excited for things already, they're doing their work already to make sure that they're ready for the game. And we have got an opponent coming into town this week that is a great football team. It's a really great football team. Rob Smith does a good job with them. We know it. We got our hands full with them, and it's one of those great GNAC games that everybody loves to see, and why our league is that entertaining is because it's great football. So it is a win today type of attitude that has to take over, and we constantly talk about just win today. There's enough with today to say if we can just take care of it, it'll help set us up for tomorrow. So that's where we're going into this week, and just trying to be our next evolution happening for week two.
Coach, there's a number of players on your team that are transfers new to the program: Scobie, Malberg, Atkinson, Morgan. How have they been adjusting to the system that you run here? And what can we expect from them as far as their role going forward in the season? Is what we saw against West Texas what we'll see from the rest of the season, or will that be changing throughout?
Well, kind of going backwards in your question, I hope West Texas is the worst you ever see. So everybody's got to keep getting better week in and week out. I think when you go back to, though, how we open up the press conference, is that our transfers have come in and assimilated with the team. Our transfers have come in with an amazing attitude to say, I want to be part of this program. I want to be part of this culture. I want to be part of this great mission that we have going on here. And our veterans and all of our returners have done a great job of accepting them and helping them understand the APU way, of working well together. And I think what I appreciate about all the transfers that you mentioned is their work ethic has been outstanding. And with that, we can do a lot. And that's the part where we want, as the whole team, we continue to feed off of that urgency to work hard every day, to do your very best, to have the humility to understand. As you watch the film, there's a lot to improve on. Some guys watch the film hoping that they don't get addressed by a coach. I just want to look good walking out of it. Our guys have enough maturity and humility about them to say, hey, I want to learn from the film. It's okay if you give me that constructive criticism. There's got to be more that I can do to get better. This can't be my best performance. And that's, we've yet to see our best performance going into this season. And so we've just started this thing out. We got a long ways to grow. And in doing that, though, we just need to make sure we're all evaluating ourselves with some real honesty. And I think that's where I think our transfers are there, as well as the whole team.
And then this last game, your team, offensively, defensively, seemed like they both made really good adjustments throughout the game. Is that something you saw from them out of camp, that this would be kind of a part of their identity, that they would adjust to things quickly and kind of respond to those kind of subtle changes that you'd make during a game?
Yeah, I'd say yes, that I expected them to be able to handle adjustments. And I think it's a credit to the coaching staff as well as the players and this collaborative culture that we have. When we go into the halftime, no one's pointing fingers. And it's, hey, what do we do to fix this? What do we do to work together? We take information, what the players seeing, the different vantage points of all the coaches, from those in the box to those there on the sideline. There's that collaborative spirit going on there, to where we work together in this thing and say, hey, we're in this together. So we came out of halftime with a new plan to say, here's some adjustments we need to do. None of them were really overarching, really huge adjustments. It's part of it was just getting that first half under your belt. And now guys are like, okay, here we go. And because you're in the first half on the road, having to go through a pretty extensive travel, and different atmosphere, and our guys are pretty tough. They have a lot of grit in that, and credit to West Texas, they came out with some heavyweight haymakers, and so we just, hey, let's stick together. We're still standing, make the adjustments, and let's go and finish this game off. So it's a great team that I love, and I'm really enjoying being a part of them and just being a chance to coach them. But in that, we have a good foundation. But there's a lot of work, a lot of little things, execution things we got to improve on.
Take a look at Humboldt now. They're still in somewhat of a new regime, new head coach. Several years ago, they were just really struggling. Now, they're building themselves up to that upper echelon of the conference and trying to get the upper echelon of the country. What are they doing in their program that you've seen on film from a quarterback perspective or a defense perspective that you're interested in stopping, so to speak?
Well, it starts, Rob Smith, he's been a long-time coach for them, and he's a veteran coach altogether, and I have a tremendous respect for him, what he's done with that program. He's someone who I do really respect in this conference. And so in doing that, I think what they've done in their evolution, coming off their no-win season that they just had about 2 seasons ago, I really saw that, okay, they found an offensive system, and it starts off with their quarterback, with Weber, who you see he's matured, watching the game, seeing, hey, he's matured, he's providing leadership for the team. They've got another young running back that's, I thought, gotten stronger in Jaquan Gardner, and so he's a one move and can get you. He's got a tremendous suddenness about him. And Chase Krevich is that Chase is making plays. Chase is a competitor. So, and then, offensive line-wise, they know their system really well offensively. I think defense, they have a new defensive coordinator coming in. From what I saw in the game, from watching the game, on the internet, to watching the film a few times already, you see that their defense is very efficient with what they do, that they ran well. So there's a good program there. And so that's why I love playing these games in this league. And so when we go up against a Humboldt State game, and particularly here at home, it's going to be a live game. And even up there at their place, this is so they have a lot of Southern California players in their team. There's the one chance that the parents don't, they can finally get to a game, because it's a pretty extensive trip to try to get to Humboldt State. So they'll have a good crowd. And so we're looking forward to this being a great game matchup coming up, where, we get the next challenge that makes you grow as a coach, makes you grow as a player, and helps establish us and gets us even stronger as a football team.
Tell us how you handle that rivalry, just with your team kind of knowing not only the home opener, but such a big rivalry game with the two D2 programs that are in California. How do you handle that, just kind of prepping them for such a big atmosphere to play in? Right.
Well, it's, our atmosphere here is always big. That's one thing I love about our stadium and our fans. The zoo comes out, and the Zoo Nation does an amazing job coming out. So that's one thing about our home games, is that it's always a big atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. So in context of your question, though, with Humboldt State coming in to us, we got to keep looking at us. And, you know, as a head football coach, I just try to say, hey, we're gonna focus on the fundamentals of success. If we get ourselves caught up in who the opponent is, then you ebb and flow with emotion. You know, so if we have to be our best emotion no matter who we're playing. You know, so that whole adage that you know, Pete Shinnick would taught me when he was the head coach here is, hey, it's not who you play, it's how you play. You know, there'll be enough emotion with the game that'll go along with it, but it's not anything I really focus on as a program here, and the coaches don't. We got enough work just ourselves coming off the film, and so we're just excited to play the game of football. So if you give us a parking lot to play in, we're excited to play the game. So anywhere, anytime, just let us play. And so this Saturday night is going to be probably one of the best football experiences in Southern California. That fans are going to want to be there for it, and it's going to be an amazing football game. So we're just excited to be a part of it.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
All right. Thank you.